Welcome to the Mom and Around podcast. This podcast is made by a mom, that's me, for moms, that's you. If you're new here, welcome. And if you are a longtime listener, welcome back. Today we have, I always say a very special guest, but today we actually have a very special guest, Landon, Carter, and Ivy's mom, the other half of this podcast, Danika. When I say the other half of this podcast, let's kind of like catch everyone up because they're like, you don't have a co-host, you know? But Danica is very much the other half of this podcast. Like, it would not be a thing without her. So thank you very much for being on my team.
No problem. It's fun.
So let's explain to everyone. Well, first let's talk about like how we met and stuff, because that's kind of like different and fun.
It is. Yeah. Do you want to tell them? Or do you want me to tell
Sure.
them how we met?
You could tell them.
Okay. We met doing Manifestation Babe Academy, which is like what it says, Manifestation Academy. We were in a accountability group together,
Mm-hmm.
and we had I think there were like 6 of us, 7 of us, but a few of us have kept in contact and we're friends, and we're cheering each other on through everything we're trying to manifest and our daily lives.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are more obviously like closer and connected and all of that, but I'm just kind of like on the outskirts, like, go girls, like woohoo. And you know, when I started the podcast and I posted on Facebook to kind of get guests on, I had over 200 people answer, and I was drowning in kind of people who wanted to interview, and I had like 3-4 interviews a day, and I'm like, oh my god, how am I handling like this, editing, posting, like all of that? And so I was like, I need someone to help me. And I was like, I need someone who's like just as positive as I am, who like I feel like is like bought in on the vision, is a little delulu like I am. And I was like, Danica is the girl for it. And luckily you were like, yeah, let's do it. And it seems like it's gonna work out.
I know. I mean, things have been seeming like they're like moving forward like a lot faster than I anticipated, and it's exciting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's definitely exciting, and I feel like we both kind of have fun with it. It's kind of like no pressure and just like a fun environment to be in, which is really that's what I wanted. Like, I didn't want anyone that was going to be like put so much pressure on it or anything like that, and I just feel like we work well together and we mesh well.
Yeah, I think it's like when we get a video that has like a ton of views, we're like, yay, and then when we don't, we're like, eh.
Like, we tried, we put it out there. And like every time we sit down, we're like, what's working, what's not working? We're just kind of like, all right, like, let's try this, let's not do this, or like whatever. And we're never like super upset about it. Like, we're just like, okay, like, let's move on. Like, it's fine.
Something else will work later. It's fine.
Literally, we're like, it's totally. And I feel like because of that, like, we kind of been attracting like a lot of different opportunities, like you said, like faster than we thought. Obviously, like, nothing's concrete yet, which is totally fine, but even just kind of like getting those like opportunities in has been like very validating for both of us, I think.
No, definitely. When you said about the bottles that you got, I was like super pumped about that. Even like if they didn't want to like come later and sponsor us, like you still got sent like a PR package.
I
That's
know.
big.
I know. I felt the same way. And it came in the mail, and it's so funny because like me and Nick were cracking up because I was like, oh, they're going to send me like a couple bottles and like they said they were going to send me a mini sanitizer. So like a little sanitizer for pacifiers like on the go. And I was so pumped for it. I'm like, great. Our bottles are our bottles, and like that's what we use and we love them. But I was like, I could try a new bottle. Like, I don't care. Like, let's do it. And the mini sanitizer, I was like, she's throwing I mean, she doesn't really like hold on to her pacifiers. So like she throws pacifiers left and right. And I'm like, this will be great. Well, he gets the mail, and it's this like huge, like regular bottle sanitizer that's like super aesthetic and pretty. And meanwhile, I have the baby Brezzo, which is amazing and has got us through so much, but it's like an eyesore. It's like black and orange. It doesn't go with anything. And this one's like white and aesthetic. And I'm like, wait, what a dream. I'm like, it's so dumb, but it's so exciting.
No, no, I totally got it. I was watching your stories and I was like, hell yeah. Like that,
Yeah.
yes, I was excited for you.
Yeah, we're moving in the right direction for sure, which is great. I know that you've been manifesting. We can make this episode about manifesting a lot. I know that you've been manifesting a lot of things, and you talk about it on your podcast, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But do you want to talk about some things that you've been manifesting lately?
Yeah, I mean, working with you was one of the things. I was like getting into this. I use the word era a lot. I think I blame Taylor Swift, but like an era of like I really enjoy social media and posting on it, and like I enjoy my podcast and everything. But I really want to help other people. I feel like that's really where my gifts are, I guess. I care
Mm-hmm.
more about other people than I care about my own success. For me, it's a hobby. But like for you and then other people I help, it's like I'm helping them. I feel like it's just a bigger deal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've been able to manifest you and then someone else I'm helping her photography business grow. And then just it seems like little things. So like you hear manifestation stories, you're like, oh, I manifested my dream job or lottery or something. But it's just like little things that are like showing me that I'm going in the right direction in life.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
that's like it's just been like very nice to like keep getting that.
Yeah. I feel like those like little micro manifestations are very important too, because it keeps you like believing and holding on and like the next thing, and then waiting for like the big thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're a mom of three.
Yes.
It's a lot.
It is a
How
lot.
old are they?
Well, one's gonna be 13 this year, an 11-year-old
Wow.
and a 2-year-old.
Wow. How is it with the 13-year-old? Is he in his
Yeah,
toot
he's
era?
puberty's hitting him. Um, just and things are bigger. Like things move faster now for kids because I think because of social media. So like
Totally.
he's coming to me with stuff, and I'm hold on, hold on, why are we talking about this?
Yeah.
But like I try to be very open with them and like
Uh-huh.
talk to them as open as I can without going too far. Sometimes I think I do go too far with him.
Why do you think that?
Because, like, sometimes I'll, like we'll be, like he'll bring up the topic of, like, sex or girlfriends or something, and,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
I'll just get going, and I'll be like, I don't think you need to know that exactly." Like, I think I could have kept with the bases. Like,
Uh-huh.
yesterday, the 2 boys were in their rooms, and one of them yelled something about being as big as an eggplant, and my mind immediately went to the eggplant emoji, which you send when you're talking about private parts.
Totally.
So I get in there, I'm like, "What are we talking about?" And here they're talking about my daughter because she wouldn't get up,
Oh.
and they were like, "She's as big as an eggplant." And I'm like, "See, they didn't even their minds didn't even go there."
That's so funny. What's their dynamic, like the boys and little Evie? Is it
They
Evie or Ivy?
Ivy,
Ivy, sorry.
it's okay. No, they adore her. I mean, they do get frustrated with her sometimes because she likes to play with them. She's a toddler, and she wants to, like, always be around them and in their room, and they're like, "Go
Mhm.
away." Like,
Mhm.
my middle child has an Oculus, so he's always, like, trying to, like, do it, and it's, like, VR. So he has
Mhm.
punched her in the face so many times.
Oh my god.
At this point, she's just, like, takes it now. And he's like, "She shouldn't have been in the room."
Oh my gosh, girls with brothers just grow up so much tougher.
They do.
What has been your favorite stage of motherhood, like, so far? I mean, you have a 13-year-old, so you have, like,
Yeah.
all the years.
Um, I don't know. I mean, honestly, it sounds cliche, but, like, everything is different all the time. Like,
Mhm.
right now, the 13-year-old, he's in sports, so we're, like I was a sports mom there for, like, the end of last year and the beginning of this year because he does
Mhm.
football and basketball. And then so, like, that was just fun. And then with Ivy, she's my only girl, and she's really into makeup right now, so it's like I'm a girl
Mhm.
mom also, so that's been fun because I had 2 boys.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it like when you found out you were pregnant with a girl?
Um, I mean, I was kinda hoping it, so, like, I was like, "Yes."
Okay.
I was like, "Yay, finally got a girl here."
Yeah.
But
Aw.
it was great, and my husband was really excited. He was like, "Yes." I
Yeah,
was
that is
kinda
really
scared because
exciting.
I only knew how to be a boy mom. I was like, "I don't know how to be
Yeah,
a girl mom."
yeah. Ivy's your husband's biological
Mhm.
daughter, and then
Yes.
the boys are from a different marriage, right?
We weren't married, but yeah, a different relationship, yep.
Okay, okay, yeah, 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 same.
Same thing. Yeah.
Um, wait, so then he must have been stoked too, because then it's like you're going through it the first time with a girl, and it's kind of like he's going through the first time as like, biological dad. So that
Yeah.
that must have been exciting for him.
Yeah, that was everything was, like, so new to him. It was so funny sometimes because I was like, "Oh, this is normal," and he's like, "What's
Right.
happening?" I'm like, "Oh, hold on. Let me"
Yeah.
I'd, like, walk him through the process with me.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I don't think I've had someone on who has like had kids before their partner yet, or at least they didn't like talk about it if they did. But like to be like the more seasoned one, like in the situation, like how was that?
Um, it was funny. It was, like, sometimes it was hard, and, like, but I also was, like, pregnant during COVID times, so, like, I was
Okay.
also wary. Like, I was like, what is this?" And then I got COVID while
While you're
pregnant.
pregnant?
Yeah.
Oof.
So, it was like those things were scary, so, like, we helped each other through them, but, like, the normal
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy stuff, it was like, I had to change doctors halfway through, and he was, like, freaking
Why?
out, and I was like, I don't want to be at this doctor, I'm switching doctors." And he's like, "But
Yeah.
why?" And he's, like, freaking out, and I'm like, it's gonna have to be this way."
Yeah. Well, if you're not vibing with your doctor, having switching is probably better. What happened with the doctor? I want to hear all about it.
They just weren't, like I canceled an appointment because I had COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to,
Mm-hmm.
like, wait till I didn't have symptoms for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and they never put me back into the appointment book. Like, I kept calling and rescheduling, they're like, "Yeah," and then, "No." So,
But
like,
why?
I don't know, it just seemed like they're not organized at all.
Okay.
So
And that's
after
definitely
I
not the practice you wanna be at.
yeah,
If
no, I
someone's
was like
that's not organized, you're like, "I'm not organized. I'm the
yeah,
pregnant one."
I know. The other hospital near us, they have a really bad reputation, people don't go to them unless they need to, but I talked to a bunch of other, like, coworkers, and they had kids there, and they said that their maternity ward was perfect.
Mhm,
So I was like, "Okay, well, I'll go there for this, but I'm not going there for anything else."
mhm.
And
I
they
had a
did.
similar experience actually about, like, the hospital. So, like, I forget who talked to us, and they were like, "Where are you having your baby?" And I was like, "Oh, Cedar Park Regional," and they were like, "Oh." And they said something that, like, kinda made me nervous, but I was like, "Okay, whatever. It's fine." And then I remember, like, a doctor saying to us, like, "Oh, the maternity ward's fine, but, like, I wouldn't go to the ER, I wouldn't go to the ER." Meanwhile, we had been to the ER, like, 3 times, and it was great. Um, and then everybody kind of has their kids at the same, like not the same hospital because there's, like, a million different ones of them, but, like, the same, like, hospital name kinda thing. It'll be, like I think it's St. David. So it'd be like St. David's North, St. David's South, St. David's wherever, right? And they would be like, "Where are you having your baby?" And I'd be like, "Cedar Park Regional." And like you would get like a look like, "Oh, like not St. David's." But like I loved my experience. Like it was I could not say anything better. Like my nurses were great. Like my doctor, I mean, doctors do like so bad, but they do like nothing when it comes like your nurse is like your girl, like during labor and delivery, and your doctor's like checks in at the end to like catch the baby, and that's it. Unless obviously there's something wrong with the baby, but luckily with us there wasn't. And yeah, I loved it. So like I totally had a similar experience.
Yeah. I loved my doctor. I had a scheduled C-section though.
Mhm.
So she was more in there. We were walking in the morning and she was about to go help someone else give birth. And she's like, "Hey guys, are we ready?" But
Oh
she
my god.
was
Isn't it so
super
weird? I had like I walked in too because I was a induction. So like you just like walk in for your like scheduled time and you're like, "Hey, here to have a baby."
and it was a weird experience. It was
Yeah.
funny, but it was weird experience.
Yeah. So did you have a C-section for all 3?
No, I had a C-section for my first, and then my second was very much a surprise. So I went into
Oh.
labor. And then
Oh, tell us about that.
oh, okay, yeah. So I I had an inkling I was pregnant. I was in denial. And then I was like, "No, girl, you're definitely pregnant." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make a doctor's appointment and be like, let's see how far along we are." Before that appointment happened, I went into labor.
No.
Mhm.
Wait, so how long did you think you were pregnant?
I mean, I think I knew from the beginning, but I was just in hella denial. But, like, I'm pretty sure my second child was a preemie. I just don't know how long I was pregnant. So, like,
No.
yeah.
That's why wait, why were you in denial?
'Cause I didn't wanna have another kid with my kids' dad. I was, like, trying to get out of the
Okay.
relationship, and I was like,
Okay.
"Absolutely not. We're not doing this again." And then
Uh-huh.
there's just so much denial, and I'm, like, working and just trying to, like, better myself, and I was like, "I'm not doing it
Right.
again." And yeah,
Yeah.
I was pregnant.
And you went until you were like you had an appointment, and then how soon after like, obviously, you didn't make it to the appointment, but how soon after or before
We
the appointment did you go into labor?
it was, like, I think, like, my son was born on St. Patrick's Day, and I think the appointment was, like, the beginning of April or, like, the end of March.
And could they tell you how many weeks he was, like, when he was born?
No, the doctor was really mad at me for, like, not seeing a doctor, which I completely fair, and I was like, "Listen, dude, I
But
have an appointment."
is it though? Because it's not their responsibility to be like your parent or like yell at you. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? At that point, like it's care for the baby, you know?
I know. Yeah, no, he had a lot of, like he had jaundice really bad, so he was there for a while, but, like, I do think it was because he was preemie, and our blood type wasn't the same, like, they give you that shot,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that, like, that does and I didn't have the shot 'cause I didn't have any appointments. So, he was in
And
the
so you
hospital
had
for a while.
him naturally. I mean, do you have an
Mhm.
epidural?
Yeah, but it only worked on the left side of my body, so I felt
Okay.
everything on the right side, it was weird.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Do you hear Kala in the
Mhm.
background? She's like, it's my show. Um, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. So you had an accidental VBAC. How many pounds was he born at?
I don't even remember, I always say I'm a bad mom like that because I don't know. I don't know for any of my
Oh
kids.
no. I
No
don't
idea.
know either. Honestly, like I like always make up a weight and Nick's like, no, she was and knows like exactly how much she weighs, exactly. But that doesn't make you a bad parent because in the grand scheme of things, I'm the better parent. But he just like knows the numbers, okay?
I was like, "I have the crib card still, if you really wanna know, I could tell you, but I don't know off the top of my head."
Yeah. I have it written down somewhere. That's nuts. Wait, you need to be on like I didn't know I was pregnant, but you kind of knew. I had
Kind
an
of.
you need to make up your own show. I had an inkling I was pregnant. I can't believe you didn't like you haven't posted this like as a TikTok story time or anything.
Well, it's because it's just, like, so much of, like, there was, like, some shame in it because I didn't want my son to think that I didn't want him. Get it?
No.
Yeah, so,
It
like,
didn't have anything to do with him.
yeah, but, like, a lot of
Yeah.
people when I was, like after it happened, because like, I called my family and I was like, "Hey," and they're like,
Just had a baby.
why didn't you say anything?" And I'm like, "Ah," and, like, a lot of them made me feel like it was a shame thing, but it was more of like
Mhm.
a, "I don't wanna do this again" thing, but
Yeah. What a unique experience. See, I think that like I totally get where you're coming from with like the shame because like yeah, like other people may have made you feel that way, but like also, like you don't want him to feel like he wasn't wanted or whatever. At the same time though, like and I know, I'm sure you know this, like give yourself grace because you obviously had a lot going on. Because, if you were in your normal mental state, you wouldn't just be like, let me be in denial about this pregnancy. Like, that's not how, like, a healthy, like, individual, which I can't believe that the doctor didn't even, like, was like mad at you. Did they like have anyone come in, like a counselor or like anyone to be like, hey, like, are you okay at home? Like,
no, nothing. Nothing.
no.
Yeah, it was nothing. I was just very much like, give birth, and then I left, and it was because it was natural. I left so much quicker than I did with Landon, because 'cause you're there forever after a C-section,
Mhm.
and then but with Landon, I also had to get a blood transfusion, so I was there forever, and then so I just, like, left and went home, but he had to stay, which was the hardest part for me.
Yeah, that is tough. Yeah. So you had to
The
go back and forth. How long was he in there?
like, he was there for, like, a couple days, came home for a couple days, and the nurse came home to check on him, and she had to send him back because he wasn't
Mm.
getting better. So then he was there for, like, another week, and then
That's
I was
tough.
able to bring him home.
How far was the hospital?
Not that far. I went to go see him all the time. His dad stayed there with him. I didn't wanna leave Landon, that was my main thing. I'd also
Yeah.
explained to him that he's gonna have a little brother.
Mhm.
He was 2,
Yeah,
so
what
it
was
was
that
like
like? He was 2, okay.
yeah.
So he, like, kinda knew what was going on, but, like, it probably would've been the same whether
Yeah,
he knew the whole pregnancy or not.
exactly.
And then what did your partner at the time say? Like, what was his take on the whole situation?
Well, he knew that I thought I knew, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I think so too," but he was just letting me do what I need to do. We weren't together, so
Okay.
he was just like, "Yeah, we can figure it out." I mean, we're already raising a kid together,
Mhm.
kind of, so he's like, "Let's just figure it out." We were both young, so
Mhm.
we were winging it the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I just can't get over that the hospital wasn't like, "Hey, like, are you okay? Are you well? Are you safe? Do you need anything?" Like, not that I think, like, you did, but, like, just in that I mean, like, Nick, like, fell, he passed out while I was pregnant and gave himself a concussion and, like, split his eyebrow open, like, one morning from I don't know if he was dehydrated, if he got out of bed too early, like, we really don't know. Um, but, like, they literally came in and they were like, "Do you feel safe at home? Like, is everything okay?" And I'm like and I was sitting there and I'm like, "Do you?" But,
Yeah,
like, in that situation where, like, you didn't go to an appointment while you were pregnant, like, is everything okay? You know what I mean? Like, that warrants, like, a counselor.
yeah, you would think. I don't know. I know that the hospital that I had them in dealt with a lot of drug addicts and babies that were born addicted to stuff, so I'm sure that me not going to a doctor appointment probably wasn't high on their priority list.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
True. Yeah. And, they probably tested him for stuff and was like, "No, he's not on anything, he's fine." Yeah, that's crazy. So then Ivy's pregnancy was completely different. So you had like with Landon, how did you find out how was that? Like how was that pregnancy and all of that?
well, like I said, I was young. I was like 19. I was
Mhm.
terrified to tell my mom, so I didn't. I had my cousin tell my mom. But
I
it
think
was
that's important to talk about too. I had someone on, Nick's cousin actually was on, and she was pregnant when she was married, but she got married like really, really young, like right out of high school. And she said that even though she was married and everything, like she like had a really hard time telling her parents, and her husband ended up telling her parents. So like I think this is interesting to talk about too, because this is like a conversation that like like people need to hear like this happens and people go through it and like so go ahead. Your cousin told your mom.
my cousin told my mom, and then after she calmed down, I like left for a couple of days. I was like, I'm gonna go hang out at a friend's house. You let
Okay.
me know when I can come back when you're calm. And then we came back after a while. She was The main thing is that she had me at the same age, and she just
Okay.
didn't want me to repeat her mistakes. That was like her
Mhm.
main thing. She was very disappointed. She thought that she raised me better to like not repeat her mistakes and everything. And like now I totally get her point of view, but at the time it was terrifying and like I felt so alone.
Yeah, totally. At 19, like where did she I mean, obviously she didn't want you to repeat mistakes. I mean, I have views on this. I do not because I think I went through infertility, like I don't feel like and I know this is like controversial to literally everyone in the world. I don't think teen pregnancy is as big of a deal as society makes it. Like I think if you have support and you have a community, I think that like you you can raise a kid and it's like totally fine and like you end up like co-parenting with the as long as like no one has problems with addiction or whatever because that throws more wrenches in it like you can totally like I don't think it's like the end of the world and like I even had a conversation with my mom about this. I'm like I think we should be more open about like you can still have a life and like have a kid like when you're a teenager, you know what I mean? Like it's not the end of the world. And like obviously like that's coming from me because I had fertility issues and honestly like I feel like had I gotten pregnant at any other point in my life, that would have been great. It would have been such a blessing. Um and so that's my personal view. So just so you know who you're talking to about this, but so like what did she want your like life to look like instead of, having Landon at 19?
I don't really know, I just know that, like, she had to leave college to, like, have me and everything, and I think she wanted me to just be able to have any opportunity that I wanted, and then having a kid was going to set that back. But
Yeah.
I personally don't believe in that, I mean, yes, having a kid makes it harder, but I
Yeah.
didn't really have any ambitions. It sounds bad, but, like, I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, so he wasn't
Mhm.
really holding me back from anything.
Right. Right. Do you kind of feel like you found that after him or after having all your kids?
I honestly feel like I was meant to be a mom. Like, I
Mhm.
just feel like that's what I wanna do, and I like exploring
Mhm.
different things.
Mhm.
I like helping people, and being a mom is, like, one of the best ways to help people, like, you're raising humans.
Yes. I love that you say that because I feel like society kind of pushes you into doing something. And like, so I was a teacher for 10 years and whatever. Um, I had my struggles with it. And, at the end of the day, like, I like the kids, didn't love like all the politics and stuff that went along with it. Um, but once I had Kala, I was like, oh, this is what I've been like waiting to do. This is what I meant to do. And even not only and I feel like this is a universal experience. Like, I don't really feel like I've ever talked to someone who's a mom who's like, after my kid, I did nothing. Like, after you have a kid, I feel like your door of opportunity opens up and you kind of understand who you are a little bit better because you're like, oh, like, as a mom, like you open up like a whole identity and then you're like, oh, I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to pour myself into this. And like the podcast wouldn't have ever came about if I didn't have Kala. You know what I mean? And like, I just feel like it's the opposite of what society makes it to be. Like it's not the end of your life, it's just the beginning of your life. And if you have like a baby like younger, like maybe you can find yourself like sooner almost.
I get it. I think it also is because, like, it makes you more passionate about things because, like,
Totally.
it's your kid's future, so now you're even more
Totally.
passionate about it because 'cause you're like, "No, this is gonna be fixed before it is a problem for them."
Mhm. Totally. Yes. Yes, I totally get that. And like, yeah, you go on like a journey of like healing yourself because you're like, I don't want my issues to be their issues too. You're way more patient with like yourself and others because of that. You see like I mean, I feel like I've always felt this way. Like I feel like look at people as if they're someone's kids, but after having a kid, like that's a whole like other deeper level because I understand what it feels like having a kid.
Yeah. No, I
I
completely
just
agree.
I feel like it makes the world like I don't know, like a softer place. And like that's not everyone because, I mean, we've all had like horrible bosses and stuff who have kids and like different like things like that. And I'm always like, how can you be like such a mean person when you have kids? Like do you not look at them and you're like, I hope that everyone out there is treating them well? I remember like 2 weeks postpartum, I was like, how are there wars? Like, how are there people who like want to go to war like after having a kid? Like, I just don't get it. Like, I just don't get it.
No, I completely understand, I don't get it either. I feel like those people will just had kids to have kids because it was what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. I know a couple people like that. Yeah. You're totally right. And not everyone's heart like totally opens up because they're not just really meant to be a parent. They just go on that track.
Mhm.
So let's talk about Ivy's pregnancy.
Um, so I found out I was pregnant on my middle child's birthday, so St. Patrick's
Okay.
Day, and then, I had her the day after Landon's birthday. So
Oh,
everyone's, like,
wow.
connected. But yeah, I called Jake. It was actually the weekend before this. I found out on, like, a Monday. The weekend before, it was, the schools just closed for 2 weeks
Okay.
like, COVID and everything, and it was just a crazy thing. But, we were like I was like, "I don't" Jake and I had a conversation, and I was like, "I don't" we were trying, it wasn't working. And
Mhm.
I have endometriosis, so I knew that it was
Me too.
possibly I wasn't gonna get pregnant. Like,
Okay.
it was there. And I was like, I just there was just stuff wrong after having the kids, and I was like, it's not working, and I don't wanna keep trying, and I'm okay not having another baby. I was like, "I have the boys, we've" I gave up my young years for them.
Mhm.
I was like, "I'm
Mhm.
okay just not having another kid." I'm like, "But this will be your like, blood child, so, like, you let me
Mhm.
know," and he's like, "No, I'm okay not having another kid," and I was
Mhm.
like, "Cool." We kinda just like, "Okay, we're not." That Monday, I found out I was pregnant. I called him I
Wow.
called him at work, and I was like, "You need to come home." It's like, "You yeah, just come home." The kids were home because of COVID, and they, like, made them little signs, so we came up the porch. They said, "You're gonna be a dad."
Oh, how cute.
Yeah. But it was I mean, I wasn't upset that I got pregnant, it was just so funny that I was like,
Right.
"Oh, I'm good, we're good."
Like, as soon as you stop trying, then you're like, "Okay." It's and literally you are pregnant when you're like, "We're gonna stop
No
trying."
stop. Yeah, but no, already
That's
pregnant.
so funny. That's so funny. So how does it feel, like, having 2 older kids and now having, like, starting over basically? Like, do you feel like you're starting over or, like, what how does it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's hit me because, like, Landon is in middle school, he's in 6th grade, so,
Mhm.
like, by the time Ivy gets there, Landon's gonna be in college or done with college, depending on what he chooses to do.
Mhm.
So, like, we were doing the math the other day, like, she's in like, I think when she starts 1st grade, he's gonna be graduating. So, like, it's just
High
like
school?
yeah, yeah. So it's like,
Wow.
he's gonna, like or he's gonna, like, be very close to it. So it's just like
Mhm.
it is. But I will say that doing it again at, like, the correct age is,
Mhm.
um it's a different experience because all like, both the kids are in sports, and the parents don't talk to us, I think, because 'cause we're too young. But,
Okay.
like, then I think when Ivy's, like, their age, I'll be the same age as the rest of the parents, so it'll be, like, a little
Uh-huh.
completely different social aspect of the whole thing.
Yeah. That's interesting that the parents don't talk to you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, they're not, like, straight up rude, but, like,
Yeah.
we have nothing in common, and all their kids have been friends since, like, preschool, or they went to high school together because we live in a pretty small
Okay.
town. So, like, it's just I'm not worth their time, which, again, I get, they have their own lives.
Yeah. Did you move to obviously, because you didn't grow up there?
Yeah, I moved with where Jake grew up at.
Okay.
It's not very far
Got
away
it.
not very far away from where I grew up, it's like an hour away, but
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So Ivy is gonna have parents that are the quote unquote right age, and Landon and Carter get young parents. I mean, young parents are so fun.
I know, I feel like I grew up with Landon. I tell him that all the time.
Totally.
I was just joking with him the other day, he said something, and I was like, "Dude, you are the practice kid. I literally have no idea what I'm doing." I was like, "I
I
am learning
mean,
100%."
Kala is the practice kid. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm 33 years old. I'm like, sorry if I mess you up, and I don't know if I can have any more. So it might just be her, and she might be screwed up, but we're trying.
It's like part of the parenting, we screw you up, trying to fix you, we screw you up.
Totally, totally. Yeah. You just try to do your best every day and, sometimes it's not enough.
Sometimes it's too much, you're like then you end up spoiling them.
Yeah. I don't know. I I don't think she will be spoiled. She might be, but at the same time I love a bratty kid. So if she's bratty, I'm okay with that. Like I just think they're so fun.
It is what it is. I know,
Society will straighten her out at some point.
I think I definitely spoiled the boys when they were too young, and, like, now I'm, like, trying to, like, fix it, and oh my god, I made a mistake.
How'd you spoil them?
I just think I gave them too much because, like, I had nothing growing up, so I was trying to give them
Mhm.
everything I didn't have, and it didn't matter what their behavior was, I was gonna give it to them. So now they just
Got it.
expect everything, and I'm like,
You know what? I think I saw or did I hear on your podcast about like a vacation that you weren't going to take or something?
yeah, took them to the
Wait, tell
beach.
that story.
Yeah, they had, like, this we were going to the beach, and it was, like I think it was the first time we went to the beach, and I was like gave them some chores to do, like a point system, and they should have had it done way beforehand, and they did not. The day of, the day before, they, like, rushed and got everything done, and we still took
Oh, they
them.
did do it.
They did do it, but, like, not correctly.
Okay.
And, like, so it was bad, and we took them to the beach because I was like, "Oh, okay." And then ever since then, they're like, "No, no, we'll still get it. It's fine. We don't gotta listen." And
Got it.
I can
Yeah.
pinpoint the moment I messed up.
I feel like I learned like consequences and all that when I was a teacher. Like you really have to live on those, live and die by those consequences. Because if you put it out there and you don't, that's it. And as a teacher, the beauty of it was if you messed up one year, the next year you got another set of kids that you could like try stuff out on, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like in that area of her life, I'll be okay.
Yeah. I think where I messed up was that I'm the type of person that likes to plan ahead, and I don't wanna
Totally.
force that on them, so it's like, okay, they didn't get it done, but, like, what if they're the type of person that likes to cram? Then that's just who they are, but, like, that wasn't the case, it was just laziness and pushing the boundary, and I let them push right through it.
Yeah. I feel like every parent has like that moment of like that though. You know, I mean like there's like one time in your life at least where your parents did that to you. You know?
Yeah.
Can you think of an example? I'm trying to think of an example.
I
My
mean,
mom was pretty tough, but
yeah.
I feel like I don't know. She was tough and she was also a pushover. I feel like they were the best of both worlds, you
Yeah,
know?
I was a very good child, so I got away with stuff because she couldn't imagine that happening, so
Mm, yeah. I was really good, but I was actually really good. Like my mom would like as long as we answered our phone, we didn't have like a curfew or anything from like a young like not young, but like high school, let's say like freshman year of high school. And so I always answered my phone. But I was never doing anything, like literally anything. Like if I was out at 2 a.m., which sometimes I was and she was okay with it, I was at the diner, like literally eating eggs. Like I wasn't doing anything. Like as I got older, obviously I got more rebellious, I guess. Like I would say probably like college, like I started getting into like some stuff after college. No, during college. And then after college I started dating Nick and then we drank a lot, but that's like all we did. We didn't do anything crazy. It was nothing nuts. And at that point, like we both had full-time jobs, so we were like making money. We like to like go away with our friends and like play drinking games and stuff, and we did that a lot of times. But I mean, I was never a crazy rebellious kid. And then like I don't know if that's gonna bite me or if that's like gonna be a good thing because like I'm just gonna like take everything Calla says for face value. Like, okay, like go on, go do it. Like I'm not gonna be like, no, because you're lying to me. You're really like doing drugs or doing something else or like I don't know. So, she might be really like bad and I'll be like, no, she just wants to go get ice cream. It's totally
no, I was the good kid. I was like you, I didn't really do anything bad.
yeah.
The worst I was doing was having sex, but
Yeah.
that was it. But
Which yeah, I
yeah.
did that. I mean, I think that's normal. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
You know, I think if you're not doing that, then you're not. I mean, if you're not doing that, then you're probably ultra religious,
yeah,
which my parents thought that I was not doing that.
yeah.
And then my sister outed me. Oh, I haven't told this story on the podcast. I could tell it. This is a fun story. We actually went, so I had a long time boyfriend in high school into college. And I did make him wait for a very long time. But at some point we did start having sex because I'm sorry, it's developmentally like what your bodies want to do at that
Mhm.
point in your life, you know what I mean? And me and my sister went to a full on waiting till marriage class like every Sunday. And I sat in that class and took that class and was like the star student, knowing damn well that I was having sex when I was not in that class. And we did the whole class, whatever, finished the class and whatever. Some point, me and this boyfriend like broke up. I had a couple other boyfriends. Once you pop, the fun don't stop,
Mhm. Yeah.
at that point. And so it's yeah, like whatever. And one day I guess we were like I might have been 21, like 21 or 20. And I got a phone call from my friend that my sister was at a party and she was too drunk and she wouldn't stop taking shots. And she was already too drunk and she's going to have alcohol poisoning. My sister was obviously the rebellious one. She's gonna get alcohol poisoning and I need to come pick her up because she's really not okay. And I think she was like going through a breakup maybe or something, and like this is how she was dealing with it kind of thing. And this wasn't the first time that this happened. So I always like intervened, and I felt like it was kind of out of my control at this point, and I needed to like have my mom step in because she wasn't listening to me, and I didn't feel like it was safe, and I wanted, my mom to know what was going on just so that like it didn't get out of hand. So my mom drove to the party in pajamas. And she was gonna get out of the car, and I was like, no, 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 I'm gonna call the guys, and the guys will bring her out. So I called the guys. We had such good friends, like thinking back, like what like amazing friends, like calling me and like not taking advantage of this girl that's like too drunk, like they're like looking out for us, like they were just such good friends. And so the guys like literally carried her out to the car. She gets in the car. My mom's not mad at all. My mom was super chill, like I said. Like she drank, she knew we drank. As long as we answered the phone, she knew where we were, like it was fine. And she gets in the car, and my mom is cracking up. Like she is like, you stink. Like you smell like alcohol. Like, oh my God, if like we pass a flame right now, this car is gonna explode. If someone lights a match in this car, like we are done for. Like going on and on, just like laughing so hard she's like crying, right? And it's like this funny thing. And my sister's in the back seat, like angry and drunk, right? And she's like, yeah, well, you know what? Elizabeth, no one calls me that, okay? But they do. And she's like, Elizabeth has sex. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And my mom's like, what? And she's like, yeah. And she starts going down my roster of everyone. And I'm like dying. And my mom's like driving, and she's like looking at me, and she's like, is this? And I'm like, and I start crying, right? And so now I'm bawling, crying. We get back to the house. My sister goes up to her room. Okay, whatever. My mom sits down at the kitchen table, and now it's turned, I wanted to intervene to my sister. It turns into me and my mom having a conversation. So my mom sits down at the table, and she's like, I'm not mad. Like, why didn't you tell me? Or not even why didn't you tell me? Why are you so upset? Because I was like hysterically crying, and I was like, I just had a vision of like later on in life, like being married and telling you and talking about it and having this bonding moment. And now she ruined it. And my mom's like, honestly, I'm relieved. Like, you dated someone for 3 years, and I was like, she's not having sex. Like, is she okay mentally? Like, like I'm relieved. Like, everything's fine. Like, you've been like careful, and like everything like feels good, and like you don't feel like anyone's taking advantage of you. Like, like all the important stuff. And I'm like, nope. And she's like, you've been doing birth control, and like you're getting STD tested, and like, all the important stuff. And I'm like, yep. And that was it. And she was like totally fine with it. And she was not like upset or whatever. I went off to bed, and the next day I wasn't talking to my sister. And we were like best friends at the time. I mean, we still are best friends, but we were like best friends. Like we had the same group of friends. Like we were inseparable. Like we did everything together. We both worked at the mall at different stores, but we would like hang out on breaks together. And like I would not talk to her. I would not look at her. I would not talk to her. And she had no memory of what happened. She was completely blacked out. And I remember we had a mutual friend at the time, and she knew what happened. Like I like called her crying, and we didn't talk for like months, like 2 months. Like it's the longest I've ever gone. And our rooms are right next to each other. It's the longest I've ever gone not talking to my sister. And finally one day my friend told her like what happened, and she was like, I did that. And my friend's like, yeah. And she came up to me, and she's like, I'm so sorry. And it was like a whole thing, but we went like 2 months without talking. And that's how my parents found out that I lost my virginity. Thank you guys. This was TMI time.
You had no idea why you were so pissed at her.
Like for 2 months. For 2 months.
Oh my god. That's funny. See, my mom would not have been that chill. She was not that chill. I mean, she did find out I was having sex when she found out I was pregnant, but
Right.
yeah.
But I feel like that's different because now like there's like a whole host of like worries that's going through you as a mom, and it's like, oh my God, like is she gonna be okay? Is everything gonna be okay? Like is she gonna be able to like float this baby, and like, you know what I mean? So like it's tough.
It is tough.
But my mom was pretty chill.
Yeah, but we're talking about like being good and whatnot. But like teenagers, Jake was the complete opposite. He was so bad. Like his parents knew about some of it. They always, like, had parties and stuff here, and, like, I don't understand how no one has ever died at these parties. It was like Project X crap at his house, like, every
Wow.
freaking weekend. Um, but yeah, but then he did stuff that his parents didn't even know about, and then so I'm, like, glad that he did that because I was so good and he was just so the opposite. We can, like,
Yeah.
come together to raise the kids.
Yeah. I feel like my husband and I were like very similar. He went to high school parties. I didn't really. I mean, like, there were high school parties happening, and I would go every now and then. Like, there were a couple. My parents knew when I would go. My parents knew when I would drink. We lived near New York City, and there's a town called Hoboken that like overlooks the city. And when after we were 21, that was like the place to drink. And my mom would literally like drop us off at the bars, pick us up from the bars, like so we didn't drink and drive because this is before Uber. And my husband was like pretty similar, like nothing crazy. We were pretty much very similar. Yeah. So I wonder how Cal is gonna turn out. I feel like we both had like pretty like in between parents, so like we're probably gonna be pretty in between, and hopefully then she'll turn out pretty in between. Like she can drink, she can smoke a little of the Lord's lettuce, you know, but don't do anything besides that.
Right. I mean, I think that if as long as you guys parent like your parents parent, I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to do it. Like, I am your safe person to call. Just
Mhm.
let me know what's going on, kind of
Mhm.
thing. Don't
Yeah.
hide it from me.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom was pretty great. My mom was absolutely nuts about the most random ass shit. Like she was nuts about us like cleaning our room. Like until I was like 26. Like until I moved out of the house, like it was like clean your room, and in the grand scheme of things, like what? Um and she was nuts about it. Like it wasn't like normal like mad. Like she would throw my stuff out the window from the second, like my room was on the second floor and she would like throw my stuff out the window. So like it didn't make sense. Um, but like when it came to like important stuff, like she was completely like chill. And I'm like, she kept us on our toes for sure.
Sound crazy. It's funny though.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we've been going for almost an hour. This has been a super fun episode, and it's actually a sneak peek into something new that me and Danica will be doing. So every Monday, we're going to go live on all streaming sites, which I don't know. I know Facebook Live we're going to do, YouTube Live we're going to do, probably maybe Twitch. And we're going to do Mom and Mondays behind the creator's curtain with the two of us. And we'll bring some wine, and you could bring some wine and chat it up with us. And it's probably going to be like more candid, fun conversations like this and like crazy things we did and things like that. Crazy things that two good kids did. So join us every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time, and we will see you there. Danica, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you so much for being the other half of this podcast. Again, I cannot do it without you. Where can everyone find you and listen to your podcast?
Well, on all social media, I'm Danica Divin 2.0, and then the podcast is called Little Corner of the Internet Podcast. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Yeah, all the
Perfect.
time.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yes, she has an amazing TikTok. Oh, excuse me. She has an amazing TikTok and Instagram, and go follow her on all platforms. And also, she creates all of the Instagram stuff for, well, I guess I create the clips, but you make all the posts for everything. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening today. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. If it's your first time listening, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Go back and listen to any episodes that you may have missed. And if you're joining us again, thank you so much for being loyal to this podcast. We hope to see you on Monday on our live stream.